Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
I'd love to know what you think. Every comment helps me make the next story better. Subscribe to stay tuned. You know that feeling when you're watching a car crash in slow motion and you're the only one who knows it's coming? That's what it's like when your girlfriend practices her breakup speech in the bathroom, thinking you can't hear her through the paper-thin walls of your apartment. For the past 2 weeks, I've been listening to Claire rehearse the same lines, adjust her tone, perfect her delivery. And the best part? I've been planning my response the entire time. It started at Bluebird Coffee on Hawthorne Boulevard. I was in the corner booth finishing some work when Claire walked in with her friend group. They didn't see me, and I didn't make myself known. What I heard in the next 30 minutes changed everything. Her friend Whitney was holding court like some kind of relationship guru. "Just tell him you need a break to think things through," she said, leaning in conspiratorially. "Men panic when they think they're losing you. Announce it in front of your friends. Witnesses make it harder for him to argue. Watch him scramble." Claire hesitated. "But Jordan's not like that. He's pretty independent." Whitney waved her hand dismissively. "They all think they're independent until you pull the rug out. Trust me, I've done this 5 times. They always come crawling back, and then you get to set the terms." I took a sip of my coffee and kept my head down. 5 times. She'd sabotaged 5 relationships and was proud of it. What if he just says okay? Claire asked. "He won't. Men like him need to feel needed. Take that away and watch him crumble. Then you can train him to be the husband you actually want." Train him. Like I was a dog. I left the coffee shop without being seen and drove home in silence. I wasn't angry. I was disappointed. And clear. Crystal clear about what I needed to do. When I got home, I did something I probably should have done years ago. I looked up Whitney on social media. Her profile was public, and what I found was illuminating. She ran an account called Know Your Worth, with about 15,000 followers. Post after post of relationship advice. How to make him chase you. How to establish dominance. How to never settle. The comments were mostly from women eating it up, but scattered throughout were people calling her out. One comment stood out. "You told my sister to do the same thing. She lost a great guy and spent 2 years regretting it. Stop giving people advice that ruins their lives." I scrolled further back. 3 years ago, she'd posted about her own breakup. Sometimes you have to train them or let them go. I let him go. His loss. The comments on that post told a different story. People who knew her saying she'd sabotaged her own relationship with games. I took screenshots. I didn't know if I'd need them, but something told me to keep receipts. That night, I called my brother Brian. "You remember how you said Claire's friends seemed toxic?" "Yeah. Why?" I told him everything. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "If she's willing to play games instead of talking to you like an adult, she's already shown you who she is. Don't try to win her back. Just win." "That's the thing," I said. "I don't feel like I'm losing anything. I feel like I'm finally seeing clearly." "Good. Because you know what this is really about? It's not about the break. It's about the fact that she was willing to humiliate you for control. That's not love. That's manipulation." I'd been thinking the same thing, but hearing Brian say it out loud made it real. I kept wondering if I should confront her early. Tell her I know what she's planning. And I realized that would just give her time to come up with a new strategy. Better to let her make her choice and then make mine. Brian laughed. "You know what? I think you're actually enjoying this." "Not enjoying it. But I'm not dreading it either. I'm just ready for it to be over." Over the next 2 weeks, I prepared. I reviewed my apartment lease. My name only. I checked my savings account. More than enough to live alone comfortably. I quietly started removing my personal items from shared spaces, things that mattered to me. I looked at smaller apartments in Northwest Portland. I mentally rehearsed every possible scenario. I also started documenting everything. I kept a journal with dates and times. Every time Claire practiced her speech. Every time I noticed her acting different after meeting with Whitney. Every suspicious conversation I overheard. I didn't know if I'd need it, but something told me to keep records. One entry read, Thursday, 7 p.m. Claire on phone with Whitney for 45 minutes. Heard her say, "I'm nervous, but you're right. It needs to be done." Confirmed she's going through with it Friday. Another, Saturday afternoon. Claire changed her outfit 3 times. Practicing facial expressions in the mirror. This isn't about the relationship. This is about the performance. I wasn't being paranoid. I was being thorough. And it felt good to have clarity instead of confusion. And I listened to Claire practice in the bathroom. I think we need to take a break. No, too soft. I think we need to take a break. Better. The night before it happened, I packed a go bag and left it in my car, just in case. Then I slept better than I had in months. That morning at work, my colleague Derek noticed something different about me. You seem weirdly calm today, he said over coffee in the break room. Usually Fridays you're stressed about weekend plans. I am calm, I said. Tonight's going to be interesting. Good interesting or bad interesting? Clarifying interesting. I took a sip of coffee. You ever know something's coming and just feel ready for it? Derek studied me. What's happening tonight? My girlfriend's going to try to manipulate me, and I'm going to end our relationship. He nearly choked on his coffee. That's specific. I told him the abbreviated version. The coffee shop. The rehearsals. The plan. So you're just going to let her walk into it? He asked. I'm going to let her make her choice. Then I'm going to make mine. Derek shook his head admiringly. That's cold, man. But I respect it. Too many people stay in situations they know are wrong. Yeah, well, I'm done with wrong situations. Friday evening, Claire came home with an entourage. Whitney, Rachel, and 2 other friends whose names I barely remembered. They arranged themselves in my living room like a panel of judges. I was sitting on the chair near the window with a beer. Claire sat down with that artificial confidence I'd been watching her practice. Whitney gave her an encouraging nod. Jordan, we need to talk, Claire began. I've been thinking a lot about us, and I think we need to take a break. Her friends nodded in synchronized approval. Whitney had a slight smirk on her face. I took a sip of my beer. Okay. The silence was immediate and thick. Claire blinked. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If that's what you want, that's what you'll get. This wasn't the script. I could see the confusion spreading across their faces. Whitney jumped in. Don't you want to know why? Don't you want to talk about this? I looked directly at Whitney, not Claire. I heard the entire planning session at Bluebird Coffee 2 weeks ago. I was in the corner booth. You told her to do this to establish control and watch me panic. I turned to Claire. So no, I don't want to talk about it. You want a break based on manipulation tactics? Done. But here's the thing. I'm making it permanent. The room went silent. Claire's face drained of color. What do you mean permanent? She stammered. I stood up. I mean, I'm done. This relationship is over. Not a break. Not a pause. Done. You can't just, Whitney started. Actually, I can. And I am. I pulled out my phone and showed the lease on the screen. This is my apartment. My name, my lease. You have until Sunday to get your things out. Rachel's eyes went wide. Even she hadn't expected this. Jordan, please, this isn't what I meant, Claire said, her voice cracking. Let's take a break, I quoted her. That's what you said. That's what you rehearsed for a week. That's what your friend coached you to say. So that's what you're getting. A permanent break. Whitney tried to regain control of the situation. This is exactly the kind of toxic behavior. I cut her off. You want to talk about toxic? You coached my girlfriend to manipulate me. You brought a group of people to my home to witness what you thought would be my humiliation. And now you're surprised that I'm not playing along? I looked at each of them. You all need to leave. Now. They filed out in stunned silence. Claire was the last to go, looking back at me with tears in her eyes. I closed the door behind them and locked it. My phone started buzzing before I even made it to the kitchen. Ashley, one of the friends who'd been there, was texting me. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that's what this was about. Whitney told us we were just there for moral support. I didn't respond immediately. Another text came through, this time from Morgan. She said you'd been distant, and Claire needed backup to have a serious conversation. We had no idea it was a setup. I typed back a simple response to both. You brought witnesses to what you thought was my breakdown. Whether you knew the full plan or not, you participated. Don't contact me again. Then I grabbed my keys and drove to Brian's house in Selwood. The call started 20 minutes later. I watched my phone light up on the passenger seat. Call after call after call. By the time I reached Brian's place, there were 5 missed calls. Brian opened the door, took one look at my face, and said, "Beer?" Yeah. We sat in his living room. My phone kept buzzing. Text messages now. Please, can we talk about this? I ignored it. The calls continued. 7, 8, 9. At 1:47 in the morning, my phone rang for the 14th time. Brian was asleep on the couch. I answered. Jordan, thank God. Breaks don't include check-ins, I said calmly. That's not fair, You wanted a break. I'm giving you a permanent one. That's exactly fair. Don't call again. But I love you. You don't manipulate people you love. Goodbye, Claire. I hung up, blocked her number, sat in the quiet darkness for a moment. Then I went to bed. Saturday morning, I woke up to a text from Rachel. She'd sent it to my old number before I blocked everyone. I'm sorry. I didn't know she was going to do that. Whitney convinced all of us it was just about making you appreciate Claire more. I feel sick about it. I responded from Brian's phone. Appreciate the honesty. Take care of yourself. A few minutes later, Rachel sent screenshots from their group chat. Whitney, he's bluffing. He'll come crawling back by Monday. Ashley, he seemed pretty serious. Whitney, trust me. Men always do. Claire, he blocked my number. Whitney, good. Let him stew. Don't break first. Rachel, maybe we should have just let them talk alone. Whitney, Rachel, whose side are you on? Rachel, I'm on the side of not playing games with people's relationships. The next message showed Whitney had removed Rachel from the group. Rachel asked if she could meet me for coffee. I agreed. We met at Stumptown on Division Street. I need you to know something, Rachel said as soon as we sat down. Whitney's done this with 3 other friends. All their relationships ended. I think she gets some kind of satisfaction from it. Thanks for telling me, I said. I'm still done with Claire, but this helps me understand it wasn't entirely her idea. Rachel nodded. Does that change anything? No, because Claire chose to listen to someone telling her to manipulate me instead of just talking to me. That's on her. Saturday afternoon, Claire showed up at my apartment with her parents. I was cordial but firm. Her father tried to mediate. Jordan, isn't this a bit extreme? Can't you two work this out? Sir, with respect, your daughter staged an intervention with her friends to announce a break as part of a manipulation strategy. When it didn't work the way she planned, she made 14 calls in one night. This isn't about working things out. This is about boundaries. Her mother looked at Claire. Is that true? Claire was crying. It wasn't supposed to be like this. It was supposed to be me begging, I said. Instead, it's you learning that actions have consequences. I helped them load boxes, but kept my distance from Claire. Every attempt she made to talk privately, I redirected. Everything that needs to be said has been said. By Sunday evening, the apartment was clear. I changed the locks and felt surprisingly peaceful. I ordered pizza and sat on the couch in the quiet apartment. The walls still had marks where Claire's pictures had hung. The bookshelf looked half empty without her books, but it felt more like mine than it had in years. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, then decided to check. This is Claire's dad. I wanted to apologize. We didn't know what really happened until today. Your response was more than fair. I'm sorry we questioned you. You're a good man. She made a bad choice. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I replied, I appreciate that. Thank you. A moment later, another message. For what it's worth, we're proud of how you handled yourself. I hope my daughter learns from this. I hope so too. I set the phone down and looked around my apartment. Tomorrow I'd take down the pictures, patch the nail holes, make it completely mine. But tonight, I just wanted to sit in the quiet and feel grateful for clarity. The following Saturday, our mutual friends Amy and Scott had organized a group picnic at Laurelhurst Park. They'd planned it weeks earlier, before the breakup. Both Claire and I showed up, neither wanting to appear like we were hiding. Claire arrived with Whitney and one remaining friend. I came with Brian and some co-workers. The tension was immediate. Amy tried to keep things light. Okay, so we didn't know about the breakup when we planned this. But you're both adults. We can all be civil. Everything was awkward but functional until Whitney started making comments loud enough for me to hear. Some people just can't handle strong women who know what they want. I ignored it. Brian didn't. Is that what we're calling manipulation now? Brian said loudly. Strength. Whitney stood up. Excuse me? You coached my brother's girlfriend to play mind games. That's not strength. That's insecurity. The whole group went quiet. Claire looked mortified. Whitney tried to defend herself. I was helping her. I finally spoke. You were helping yourself feel better about your own failed relationships by sabotaging hers. Amy looked confused. Wait, what's going on? I kept my voice calm and even. 2 weeks ago, I overheard Whitney coaching Claire and their friend group at Bluebird Coffee. The plan was for Claire to announce a break, watch me panic and beg, then use my desperation to control the relationship going forward. They brought 4 friends to my apartment to witness what they thought would be my humiliation. Scott's eyes went wide. Seriously? Claire spoke quietly. It wasn't supposed to go like that. It wasn't supposed to fail, I said. But here's the thing about manipulation. It only works if the target doesn't see it coming. Amy looked at Claire. Why didn't you just talk to him if something was wrong? Claire had no answer. Whitney tried again. Relationships need power dynamics. Multiple people spoke at once. Scott said it was toxic. Amy said that's not how healthy relationships work. Brian said that's why she's single. Whitney, completely humiliated, grabbed her things and left. Claire sat frozen on the picnic blanket. Rachel, who'd arrived late, sat down next to Claire. I tried to tell you. Jordan's a good guy. You lost him because you listened to someone who's never had a successful relationship. Claire left a few minutes later, completely devastated. Amy approached me as I was packing up. I'm sorry we didn't know. You're handling this with a lot of grace. I'm just done with games, I said. Life's too short. 2 days later, I signed the lease on a new apartment in Northwest Portland. The place was in Nob Hill, walking distance to Forest Park. It was smaller than what I'd shared with Claire, but it was mine. Completely mine. Moving day was therapeutic. Brian helped me load the truck. As we carried boxes up the stairs, he said, "You know what I noticed? You packed light. No baggage." Literal or metaphorical? I asked. Both. He was right. I'd donated or sold most of the furniture Claire and I had bought together. Started fresh. New couch. New bed. New everything. It felt symbolic. That first night in the new place, I ordered pizza and sat on the floor of my empty living room. No TV yet. No coffee table. Just me, a pizza box, and the quiet satisfaction of a clean slate. I texted Brian. Moved in. Feels good. He responded immediately. Proud of you, man. That takes guts. It didn't feel like it took guts. It felt like common sense. Like finally doing what I should have done the moment I heard Whitney's voice in that coffee shop. Over the next few weeks, Claire tried everything. She sent flowers to my workplace. I donated them to the hospital. She slipped a letter under my door. I read it, felt nothing, and threw it away. She showed up at my gym. I walked past her to the locker room. She created a new phone number to text me. I blocked it immediately. One afternoon at the climbing gym, I ran into Scott from the picnic. He was belaying his wife Amy on the wall. "Jordan, hey." He seemed genuinely happy to see me. "Didn't know you climbed here." "Just started coming back," I said. Needed to get back into old hobbies. After Amy finished her route, the three of us grabbed water. There was an awkward moment where nobody spoke, then Amy just came out with it. "Claire called me crying yesterday. Asked if I thought she had any chance of fixing things with you." I took a drink of water. "What did you tell her?" "That some things can't be unfixed. That she made a choice, and now she has to live with it." Amy looked at me seriously. "Was that the right thing to say?" "That was honest. I appreciate honesty." Scott nodded. "For what it's worth, we told our other friends what really happened. What Whitney did. Most people are on your side." "I'm not looking for sides," I said. "I'm just looking for peace." "You seem like you found it," Amy observed. "Getting there." She posted cryptic messages on social media about making mistakes. She reached out to Brian, who politely declined to intervene. She tried to create chance encounters. I maintained complete boundaries. Zero engagement. My friends asked if I was being too harsh. My response was always the same. I'm not being harsh. I'm being clear. She had 4 years to talk to me like an adult. She chose manipulation instead. I'm just respecting the break she asked for. Some mutual friends stopped talking to me entirely. They'd heard Claire's version first and decided I was the villain. I didn't fight for them. If they couldn't ask for my side of the story, they weren't the kind of friends I needed. But others reached out privately. People who'd known both of us for years. One guy, Marcus, who I played basketball with, sent me a long text. "Man, I heard what really happened. Claire told Rachel. Rachel told Amy. Amy told my girlfriend. I just want you to know that took guts. Most guys would have tried to make it work or gotten revenge. You just stood your ground and walked away. That's strength." I appreciated messages like that. Not because they validated my choice, but because they reminded me that people could see through manipulation if they bothered to look. 3 weeks after the breakup, Claire was waiting outside my apartment building when I got back from a run. "Please," she said. "Just 5 minutes." I stopped but kept my distance. "You have 1 minute." I was stupid. I listened to the wrong person. "I miss you. I miss us." She was genuinely crying. "Can't we try again?" I'll cut Whitney off completely. I'll do whatever it takes. I took a breath. My response was calm, but final. Claire, you didn't just listen to the wrong person. You chose manipulation over communication. You brought witnesses to watch what you thought would be my breakdown. And when it didn't work, you called me 14 times in one night. I paused. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. Multiple choices. But people can change. Maybe they can. But you need to change for yourself, not to win me back. And I need to be with someone who doesn't need to change from being manipulative in the first place. So that's it. For years means nothing? For years meant everything. Until you decided to treat our relationship like a game. That ended it. Not me. You. I moved toward the building door. I genuinely hope you figure yourself out. But figure it out away from me. I love you. You love the idea of not losing. There's a difference. I opened the door. Don't wait for me again. It's over. I went inside without looking back. That night, Brian came over with Chinese takeout. We ate in silence for a while before he spoke. Mom called. Said Claire's mom reached out to her. Wanted to know if there was any way to fix this. I set down my chopsticks. What did Mom say? That she raised you to have boundaries and she's proud you're sticking to them. He grinned. Then she asked if Claire's mom knew what actually happened. Apparently she didn't. Mom filled her in. How'd that go? Let's just say Claire's mom apologized for calling. Brian grabbed another egg roll. You know what's interesting? Everyone who knows the full story sides with you. It's only the people who heard Claire's version who think you're being harsh. That's how manipulation works, I said. Control the narrative. You could control it too. Post about it. Tell everyone. I shook my head. I don't need to. The truth comes out eventually. It always does. Brian studied me for a moment. You're different. Calmer. Lighter somehow. I feel lighter. Like I've been carrying something heavy for years and finally put it down. Most guys would be angry. Bitter. I was disappointed, not betrayed. There's a difference. You can only be betrayed if you trusted someone completely. I haven't fully trusted Clare in months. This just confirmed why. Meanwhile, word was spreading through the social circle about Whitney's pattern. Multiple women came forward with similar stories. Her relationship advice social media account got exposed on a local Reddit thread. Comments flooded in from people who recognized the toxic patterns. Her follower count dropped by 60% in a week. She doubled down initially, posting about weak men who can't handle confident women. But it backfired spectacularly. Screenshots of her coaching sessions got shared around. Eventually, she deleted her account and moved to Seattle. The friend group completely dissolved. Rachel called me a few weeks later with an update. I thought you should know what happened after everything blew up. I'm listening. Whitney lost her job. Turns out she was spending work hours coaching people on her manipulation tactics. Someone sent screenshots to her boss. She got fired for misuse of company time and resources. That's not on me, I said. I know. I'm just telling you because you should know the full picture. Rachel paused. Ashley and Morgan apologized to Claire. Said they never should have gone along with it. But the damage was done. The whole friend group fell apart. And Claire, she's seeing a therapist. A real one. Twice a week. Cut off all social media. She's actually doing the work, Jordan. For real this time. Good for her. I mean that. I know you do. That's what makes this whole thing so sad. You actually cared about her becoming better. Just not with you. Exactly. Rachel started her own content about healthy communication, using her experience as a cautionary tale without naming names. 6 months later, I was in my new apartment in Northwest Portland, not far from Forest Park. The place was smaller but nicer, closer to the trails where I ran most mornings. My life had simplified in the best way. I'd renewed my focus on rock climbing at the circuit bouldering gym. My friendships were stronger, more authentic. Work was going well. I was dating casually, no pressure. And I had peace of mind for the first time in years. Brian came over one Saturday afternoon. He looked around the apartment, impressed. You're doing good, man. Better than good. I feel clearer than I have in years, I said. Turns out, ending something toxic isn't the hard part. The hard part is admitting it was toxic in the first place. There was a knock at the door. Rachel stopped by to return a book she'd borrowed. We'd stayed friendly. Claire's in therapy, Rachel mentioned casually. Real therapy, not Whitney's manipulation coaching. I ran into her last week. She asked if you were doing okay. What did you tell her? That you're thriving. Because you are. After Rachel left, Brian asked, "You ever think about reaching out? She seems like she's actually working on herself." I considered it for a moment. I hope she is. Genuinely. But working on yourself doesn't erase what you did. And it doesn't entitle you to a second chance with someone you already showed you were willing to manipulate. Brian nodded. Fair enough. The next evening, I had my third date with Sarah. We'd met through a climbing group, and she was refreshingly straightforward. No games. No testing. Just honest communication. We grabbed dinner at a small Italian place in the Pearl District. Over pasta, she asked about my last relationship. It ended because she tried to manipulate me into being more grateful, I said simply. Her friend coached her on how to play mind games. I found out, ended it, and never looked back. Sarah set down her fork. That's refreshingly direct. Most guys dance around that question. I figure honesty saves everyone time. I appreciate that. She smiled. My last relationship ended because he couldn't make a decision without consulting his friends. Every choice was a committee vote. It was exhausting. So what made you swipe right on my profile? I asked. Your bio said you value direct communication and hate drama. I thought, finally, someone who knows what they want. And what do you want? Same thing you do. Something real. No scripts. No games. Just two people being honest about what they're feeling. I raised my glass. I can work with that. A month later, I was grabbing coffee at Pip's Original Donuts on Fremont Street when I spotted Claire in line behind me. She saw me at the same moment, looked uncertain. I nodded politely. Hey. Hey. She looked different. Less styled, more natural. How are you? Good. Really good. It wasn't hostile, just honest. You? Better. Getting there. She paused. I'm sorry. I know I said it through Rachel, but I need to say it to you. I'm sorry for what I did. I appreciate that. I meant it. I hope therapy's helping. It is. I'm learning a lot about myself. Not great things, but important things. We stood in awkward silence. Finally, Claire said, I'm not going to ask for another chance. I know that's done. I just want you to know that you were right about everything. And I'm grateful you didn't let me get away with it. I considered this. People who actually love you don't manipulate you. I hope you find someone who understands that from the start. I hope you found someone who deserves how you show up. Working on it. We got our orders. Exchanged polite goodbyes. Parted ways. I sat in my car for a moment and realized I felt nothing. Not angry, not satisfied, not sad. Just neutral. That's when I knew I'd actually moved on. That evening, I sat on my balcony overlooking the city lights. Brian's words from months ago echoed in my mind. Don't try to win her back. Just win. I hadn't won by being cruel or vindictive. I won by refusing to play, by maintaining boundaries, by choosing self-respect over comfort. Claire might become a better person. Whitney might never change. The friend group might remain scattered. But none of that was my problem anymore. I texted Sarah, the woman I'd been seeing for a few weeks. Someone who communicated directly and valued honesty. Still on for tomorrow? She responded immediately. Absolutely. Looking forward to it. No games. No manipulation. Just straightforward interest. I smiled, finished my coffee, and headed inside. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply refusing to accept manipulation as normal behavior and building something better without the person who tried to control you. The break Claire asked for became permanent, and I'd never been more okay with anything in my life. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.